Hey, what's up guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. There's been reports that the world's largest 3D printer is being used to bring replicas of the Ark of the ISIS-destroyed Temple of Bel to London and New York. Now the question I have is why? Most of you guys watching this channel will probably understand that the Temple of Bel is something that is mentioned in the Bible several times, and although it may not be the exact temple here that was destroyed by ISIS, the reality is that this was a place where Baal was worshipped and where human sacrifices occurred. I mean, this was not a good place. There's a reason why God told the ancient Israelites to tear down these places. But I find this whole thing very strange, and here's a couple reasons why. First off, many media outlets reported that the purpose behind ISIS destroying these ancient relics just a few months ago was to destroy anything that reflects ideologies that are against those held by ISIS. But if that were the case, then why aren't they going after more ancient sites? Why only the few that were reported? Or are there more that haven't been reported? At the same time, the New York Times reported that ISIS is benefiting from the publicity for recruitment purposes and even financially benefiting by disseminating some of the loot with underground trade networks for, archaeological goods. But we know that the global elite control the official and unofficial pipelines when it comes to ancient archaeological relics. An example of this is found in what's called Operation Golden Lily. It's something that I wrote about in my unpublished book, The Cosmic Endgame, and one that's been mentioned by several authors and researchers of World War II revisionism. But in brief, this was when the Japanese, who were in cahoots with the Nazi Axis powers, under the authority and direction of their emperor during World War II, looted much of the treasures scattered throughout the eastern edge of Asia. These were anything from gold, silver, and other precious metals and stones that were accumulated in China and surrounding nations over the centuries through the Silk Road trade. Well, anyways, the point here is that to control all facets of this loot, the Japanese emperor actually ordered both the official military arm to go collect and preserve the loot, but also employed the Japanese mafia, like the Yakuza, to maintain control over the underground illegal trade networks. Now, if this happened once before, you bet it's happening now at a larger scale. And that's why I say, even though they say, oh, ISIS is benefiting by trading this stuff with these illegal underground networks, who controls the illegal underground networks? I would reckon that it's the global elite. And of course, all this comes into question when you bring up who controls ISIS and why all this loot was necessary to begin with, really, not the reasons they're giving in the mainstream media. Now, secondly, this story reflects where modern technology and the ancient world collide in a public arena for purposes that may or may not be clear to the masses. Now again, the Temple of Baal was a place that, in the biblical narrative of the Old Testament, was to be destroyed because there were human sacrifices and all kinds of other abominable things going on at these temples. Some researchers have suggested that Baal is in connection to Nimrod, also Beelzebub, one of the fallen angels of Satan, or Satan himself. So there is this element of Satan worship associated with the Temple of Baal. Why in the world would they want to recreate this Temple of Baal, or at least this ark that was part of the Temple of Baal, in London and New York? I think there's a very good reason why, and it's not the reason they're going to tell you. Now, 1 Corinthians 10:20 clearly tells us that the Gentiles of old sacrificed to demons and not to God. And if you look through the Old Testament, again, there's tons of references to the Temple of Baal. There's even a moment in 2 Kings where Elijah goes against the prophets of Baal to defend the God of Israel against this false god. And then there's Jeremiah 19, verses 4 through 6 says this: "Because the people have forsaken me and have profaned this place by making offerings in it to other gods whom neither they nor their fathers nor the kings of Judah have known, and because they have filled this place with the blood of innocents, and have built the high places of Baal to burn their sons in the fire as burnt offerings to Baal, which I did not command or decree, nor did it come into my mind. Therefore, behold, days are coming, declares the Lord, when this place shall no more be called Topeth, or the valley of the son of Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter." Now again, here you go. There's clear reference to human sacrifice to Baal at these temples, these high places. So the fact that they are recreating it in New York and London, two of the headquarters, if you will, of this new Babylon that we're pretty much living in today, is very interesting. And, I have my views of who Mystery Babylon is in the Bible. But I do think there's something to this global structure that's constructed. And it's fascinating because, of course, London being a financial headquarters, if you will, of the New World Order, and New York being the American arm of that, it's no surprise that these two places are where they would reconstruct the Temple of Bel with the 3D printer. Now, the article states that this is a war against ISIS and a gesture of defiance against religious extremists attempting to erase evidence of the Middle East's pre-Islamic history. I mean, can you get a little bit more dramatic? This sounds like an excuse, and I sincerely doubt that that's really the purpose behind the destruction, first off, of the Temple of Bel by ISIS, but also the reconstruction, this 3D reconstruction of the Temple Ark in New York and London. Why are they glorifying a temple where human sacrifices took place and flaunting it in front of the world and getting the world on board and supporting this because it's a gesture of defiance against religious extremists? Well, I think we know the answer here. And notice how they use religious extremists. They don't say ISIS. They don't say specifically anyone in general. They say religious extremists because in the minds of the public and the minds of those who eat up what the mainstream feeds them, anyone who believes in the Bible, even the Quran, are religious extremists. And if you consider the fact that even in the Bible, God tells the Israelites to destroy these high places because they were having child sacrifices, it was an abominable place to God, bowing in prayer to the shrine and teaching the ways of the mystery religion, and even having sacred prostitution and licentious dancing around these temples. Well, but for the sake of archaeology, we must preserve our ancient past. Well, on one hand, yeah, for archaeological reasons, sure, preserve it. But on the other hand, why glorify it? That's a different thing altogether. And creating a 3D replica of the Temple of Bel in front of New York and London for the world to see and awe and get behind the agenda of the global elite is not preservation of archaeology whatsoever. This is Satan worship for the masses. Thanks for watching my video. Please share it with friends, family, and whoever else you think might benefit from this information. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel and dig around the archives. I have hundreds of videos covering topics ranging from angels, aliens, and the Antichrist to global conspiracies of the New World Order, eugenics, genetics, Genesis 6, the Nephilim, transhumanism, and much more. And don't forget to check out my full-length documentaries, Age of Deceit, Fallen Angels and the New World Order, and Age of Deceit 2, Alchemy, and the Rise of the Beast Image, all of which you can watch totally for free right here on the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. Have an awesome day. God bless.